Hey guys, welcome to the Rubin Report. I'm Dave Rubin. I'm classing up the joint wearing a jacket this week. I've got Peitzman with me, Jack Moore with me, and here we go. Are you drinking alcohol, like old school alcohol that was mixed maybe in a distillery or a winery or something like that? That is old school. Get new school, people. It's now in powdered form. The Alcohol, Tobacco, Tax, and Trade Bureau has approved Palcohol, which is a powdered alcoholic drink mix for sale and distribution. And basically, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's basically Kool-Aid that you just add some water to and you can get smashed. I believe we have an image of some of the packaging. So of course, you can get a Cosmopolitan, a Mojito, a Powderita, which apparently tastes just like a margarita, and a lemon drop, amongst a couple others. And there's been some confusion on the internet whether this was approved or wasn't approved, which seems like it's up to a bit of debate. The labels, I guess, haven't been approved yet. But would you drink powdered alcohol? Is this the future? Is everything going to be in powdered form?
I feel very conflicted because I don't drink, but I love novelty items. So I feel like I kind of want to have the powdered alcohol just because it's ridiculous and like, you know, it's a thing to do.
Right. Would you snort the powdered alcohol if
Probably.
you don't drink as a non-drinker?
Yeah. No, I feel like that's a good loophole.
Yeah.
Just snort it, or like make like a face mask out of it. Just rub it into your skin.
Yeah.
With a little paste. Whatever it takes.
Whatever it
just
takes.
I'm not gonna drink it.
Not going to drink it.
I just think
Jack?
anything that makes making jungle juice for college parties easier is going to succeed. So I can't imagine. I feel like the prank potential of powdered alcohol is really high. You know, just to like your friends away and like it's finally a fun surprise to leave in someone's drink, you know, not a dangerous one. So, you know, you leave a little powderita in there and they get a nice little surprise as they're having brunch.
Exactly.
Like that's a nice, you know, I could see college kids across America. It's the new trend on campuses.
Yeah, remember was it like a year ago, there was going to be beer that was just a vapor and you could just get wasted like that. People always fight this stuff, but you really can't fight progress, can you? One day, if people want to have a little packet of powdered booze, they're going to have it, right? And everything will be okay.
Yeah. Also, I like the idea of sprinkling alcohol on your food. As a flavor enhancer, or just to get drunk on fries, whatever it takes.
You could have a margarita French fries.
Yeah, why not?
And get drunk at the same time.
It's the future.
Not terrible.
That does seem like the future, actually. I think you've solved it.
Do you think that they're going to have, alternate companies that are going to start cutting it with stuff? You know, because there is a drug element to this. You know what I mean? Where you're going to get the pure stuff, and then it's going to be cut with some Drano or something, right?
Gasoline,
whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just I mean, we really have the equivalent. I'm sure these things just taste like bad, like wine mixers, basically, like the things they sell in like pouches at CVS.
What was that old wine cooler brand like from the 80s? Those two old guys, Bartles and James.
Bartles and James.
I feel like it would taste a lot like that.
Yeah, exactly. So that's my one problem with it is like, do you need another step towards alcohol? Like, has anybody ever been like, man, I love drinking, but if only there was another preparatory step between me and getting drunk.
Right.
I don't think
Well, maybe you stop and it's actually better because you have to think about it, you know? Like if you're gonna have another drink, like do I really wanna open this powder packet and mix it with water?
Right.
Do I have that time?
Couldn't it also be the reverse of that, like where people want to get drunk easily? Let's say you're at a baseball game and you don't want to pay $12 for a beer, and you can be like, oh, I got a bottle of water. Well, actually, a bottle of water probably costs $8 there, but you bring your own water,
Right.
and then you know what I mean. So
you've done it. It's a Crystal Light.
So financially, it makes sense.
Sure.
If you didn't want to spend
I
money
mean,
on
but
it.
I've just never had like Kool-Aid and thought to myself like, man, I want to have Kool-Aid more. Like I want this to expand into other areas of my life. And so I don't, the idea of making alcoholic Kool-Aid doesn't exactly, like if you told me like, hey, I made a bunch of alcoholic Kool-Aid, would you like some? I would definitely say no thank you.
You would not try that. So is this really, though, this seems to me that this is really about kids drinking, because that's where, like they can, of course, they're going to market it to adults, but the people that are really going to be smuggling packets to parties and to family events, it's going to be kids. So there is some risk here,
I want
right?
this package like Pixie Sticks, where you can just have a handful and
How
you just
about,
open
like, Fun
them.
Dip?
Fun Dip's even better.
Oh, that would be something.
You're thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
Now I want to use it as alcoholic Fun Dip. That actually is the best. That sounds great.
We've
Give me
come up
those
with
little
something
white
here.
sugar sticks and I'm in.
Should we be concerned, though, about the kids? The kids?
We should always be concerned about the kids.
Someone has to be concerned about the kids, you know. What's her name from The Simpsons? Lovejoy's wife is always worried about the kids.
It does seem like this will be a very shoplifted item. Like it's much easier to go into a store and grab a little pouch of something that will fit in anybody's pocket than to like grab a bunch of bottles.
See, I'm imagining kids with like pockets full of powder, just like grabbing handfuls of powder and walking around and just like leaving a trail of alcohol behind them.
Yeah, it just has so much,
Terrible
so
name,
many
too.
implications. Alcohol, not good,
Really,
right?
Because it sounds like it's a portmanteau of like pals and alcohol, which already is like, oh no.
Yeah.
So.
All right, well, maybe the alcohol people have some marketing issues to work on, and they still got to get the labels approved and everything. So we will see what happens. And when it becomes legal, we will drink it here and do official taste test. All right, let's talk about Prop 8. We can't do 1 week without something gay. And this one I think is actually kind of interesting. So Charles Cooper, who was one of the lawyers that was for Prop 8, meaning he was against marriage equality, and fought it at the Supreme Court. Well, you're not going to believe this. He has flip-flopped, and yeah, he's now for gay marriage. Why? Well, his stepdaughter, lesbian, wants to get married. Incredible how this works out. We've got a quote from General Cooper. "My views evolve on issues of this kind the same way as other people's do, and how I view this down the road may not be the way I view it now or how I viewed it 10 years ago." That's attorney Charles Cooper. All right, so basically that seems good to me. He's trying to get on the right side of history, except the Supreme Court case wasn't that long ago. And is it a little disingenuous? Like now it affected you personally, so you're going to get on the right side? Like this is kind of, in a weird way, I'm happy that it happened, but it kind of seems like a dick move, actually.
We can still judge him, right?
Yeah,
we can still,
can we judge
yeah,
him?
we can totally judge him.
Yeah.
Now
So
that
are
it
you okay
personally-
with this? Are you okay
No,
with
I'm
this?
fine with it. I mean, good for him, but like good for him, question mark.
Yeah.
Like good for you that it personally affected you and now you're deciding that you have to not be an asshole.
Yeah, can you guys at BuzzFeed do some sort of one of those, what do you call them, the freaking tests, the, you know,
Quizzes?
the quizzes?
Yeah.
Can you do one of the quizzes on like how you evolved on gay marriage with all your crazy? Can you make that?
I'm gonna go do that right now.
Please, after the show, make that happen. Really, I mean, look, it's good he did it, but like it's literally about, what is it, about a year later or something? Maybe, it's less than a year later. It's like 9 months later. And it seems like, well, it affected you personally, so now you're gonna come on board? Like,
It blows my mind that there are still people in this country who don't see that this war has been lost by them. Like, bigots have lost this war. It's just going to happen. It's not, there's no going back now. And it's the equivalent of being a segregationist in 1982. Like, the war's done.
Right.
And so what's more shocking to me is that there are so many people who haven't evolved their stance on gay.
so should we graciously accept this guy? Should we be like, yeah, sure, you fought against us less than a year ago in the Supreme Court, but you found out you have a lesbian stepdaughter. Welcome aboard.
I mean, I think
because we're so accepting.
I think we are accepting, but I also think it's a great feather in the cap of the cause that if even this guy, I mean, this is Darth Vader like hanging out with the Ewoks. Like it's impossible to be touched by this issue personally and not come to the right conclusion. If Dick Cheney, who I'm pretty sure is an evil robot sent from the future, can be for gay marriage because his daughter is, then really it's the least you can ask of somebody. Right. It's actually the least you can ask.
So is this just proof that the number one thing the gay people can do is come out? Because look, it happened with Dick Cheney when his daughter came out. He came around. This guy's daughter came out. We had that, Rob Porter, I think, senator.
Yeah.
His son came out. So it's basically like if you come out, you can pretty much affect the convictions of a politician.
That's a good spin to put on it, yeah. That's a positive way of thinking about it.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, should we be gracious? Which no, yes, we should be gracious.
But should we just accept, should the gay community just accept all these people, no matter what they've done in their past? The second you change, should you be exonerated of what you've done?
Well, I don't think he should be like marching in the Pride Parade, but we can hate him, we can accept that he evolved on the issue without making him like a gay icon.
Yeah.
I don't know if he wants to be a gay icon, but I think we should maybe not make him one.
He'd have to morph into an old lady probably.
He could wear a wig. Yeah, but I think no.
Do you think it matters even if he's not doing this necessarily because of his daughter, but just for selling a book? Because I think that's also part of it. Like, how do you sell your book? Well, I was the Prop 8 lawyer who fought against gay marriage, and now I'm for it. Let's sell a book. You know, like there's some element, but should we even take that and be like,
I think whatever gets people on the right side of this issue is a good thing. And I don't think that makes them great people, because I don't think this issue makes being for gay marriage and saying that people who love each other should be able to get married doesn't make you a good person. that's just what, as people, we should expect of each
Whoa,
other.
whoa, whoa. You don't want extra credit?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I mean, I would love some extra credit.
I was giving him extra credit this whole time. Were you giving
Yeah,
him
no, totally, for being like, an ally.
for being an ally?
You know, I do what I can.
Yeah. Does anyone evolve the other way? That's what this was making me think. Is there anyone that's pro-gay marriage that suddenly, have we heard that at all? Because maybe that's proof of something.
I went to Berkeley, which is a very liberal school,
Yeah.
but the largest group on campus are actually the college Republicans, because people come who are like moderate, and they're so freaked out by the liberalism that they like backtrack and
Right.
become these really conservative like assholes. So I feel like that could happen. Like someone gets so scared about like marriage equality, they're like, I'm gonna like double down and become like super anti after thinking this was okay.
Yeah, isn't that a little bit of like the Chick-fil-A theory? Like the more the gays fought Chick-fil-A, the more chicken they sold. Like a little bit of that, or the more that they fought Duck Dynasty, suddenly the ratings were huge. Now I guess they're not.
Well,
so
it's
great
like
anymore.
Paula Dean. Still, people rally behind Paula Dean every time she says something.
She become
awful.
more racist? Is that what happened?
I think
She
so.
had to double down on her
It's good for her
racism.
brand.
Yeah.
No, I think when people will begin to devolve on this issue, to de-evolve on this issue, when gay divorce starts popping up, you'll see a lot of gay people who will be like, you know, like, I don't know if it was right for me. You know, gay marriage in theory is great, but I want to go back to the single life.
I do have a friend right now that's a lesbian in the middle of a divorce, and I feel like that's very edgy. Don't you think that's edgy
The lesbians
of
are
me
getting
to have?
divorced first, though. Have you noticed
They're
that?
getting divorced
The lesbians
first.
are getting divorced
They
first.
get married first too.
They got married first. They're getting divorced first.
Yeah, there's some U-Haul joke we're supposed to make. here, right?
I walked up to the edge of it and then turned around.
Let it go.
He's a good ally. He's not going to make that joke.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about Lindsay Lohan. You know, she had this show on OWN, which is Oprah's network, that nobody knows what channel it's on except for Oprah, apparently. And the show got canceled. It did one season and it just got canceled. It had poor ratings, surprise, surprise. And there's a lot of drama around the show. Now, I actually hadn't watched the show until we decided to do this segment, so I caught up a little bit. Let's show you a little clip of Lindsay's show.
I may have addictions to certain things in life, but I'm not essentially your typical addict. That's not who I am. I'm not that kind of person. I know the difference between right and wrong and stupid and idiotic and, you know, what's good and bad. Like, I know that. I was raised well by my parents, and I've seen it. But there's certain things that people don't. There's no one around people sometimes, and I see that now. It's terrifying.
We don't usually do this kind of stuff on this show, but I thought this was particularly interesting because it's related to Oprah and how much truth are we getting out of her, and Lindsay's just such a train wreck. So first, let's just talk about the train wreck part of it. Why are we obsessed with train wrecks? Why no matter if Justin Bieber pees in a slop bucket and yells at Bill Clinton, and you know Amanda Bynes throws a bong out of a window, it was my bong, that was the upsetting part. It's like, why are we obsessed with these people?
Well, I think you see celebrities climb very high and you want to see them fall. I mean, it's part of the kind of story that we've been conditioned to expect. And so when someone is that famous and that popular and that rich, you kind of expect this downfall aspect to happen. That's like the way the story ends.
Yeah.
I think Lindsay's been around for so long, we've seen ups and downs. I personally watched the show hoping it would be, I'm one of those people who actually wants her to succeed.
So you thought that somehow she was going to be, get her mea culpa through this?
Well, I don't know what I thought, but I kept watching. So, it's tough. I mean, she really is. I feel like she's trying. I feel like she's also very deluded. And so you kind of see that in the show.
Yeah. Now, what channel is it, by the way?
I have no idea.
See, you don't even know, and you've been watching
I
it.
DVR'd it. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. The DVR knows.
Yeah. What do you think? What's the train wreck explanation? Because there's something deep in the human psyche that loves this shit.
Well, I think part of it is actually just an addiction to narrative and the fact that when someone reaches the top, if it was a movie, that'd be the end of the narrative. But in life, it continues to go on. So we seek out the next part of the story. We want to see the next part of the story. And I think this is, kind of the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. It's like something that is watched will be changed. And when you start pointing a camera and throwing paparazzi around these people at all times, like that will drive someone crazy. And I think we've seen that with so many people now. TMZ plays this, tries to, whenever somebody gets into serious trouble and something really bad happens, TMZ suddenly seems like really like respectful.
Well, that person
yeah,
had some
like
serious-
we really are praying for, and it's like you're a big part of what happened here. This is someone who maybe didn't like shoot someone, but provided the gun.
Well, their views evolved. Their views
their
evolved. They were
views
personally
evolved.
affected, and their views evolved.
Somebody needs to put some of that powdered alcohol in, what's his name? Howie? What the hell's his name from TMZ?
Levin.
Harvey Levin. Put it in his little, he's sucking on that thing constantly. This reminded me a little bit of that South Park episode with, that we used to have human sacrifice, and now we're not sacrificing these people to death, but we're just putting them up there for that. So I guess that sort of goes to what you're saying about there's like this deep need in us.
This is really
Kind
dark.
of thing. Was that very dark?
Yet not as dark as the show Lindsay.
Precisely.
Still darker than anything you said.
So the part that made me really want to talk about this, though, was the Oprah connection, because everything Oprah has built herself on has been actually what we think of are the reverse of Lindsay Lohan. And everyone was like, oh, well, she's going to give her a chance, and Oprah can fix Lindsay Lohan because Oprah can do anything. But even Oprah failed.
Did she fail?
How
I mean,
sad does that make
I
you?
don't. Well, it makes me very sad. The whole show, I'm still reeling.
Yeah.
It's been a tough several weeks, but I think that I don't know. It's hard because with Oprah, you kind of wonder, did she come into this with good intentions? Was she actually trying to help someone? That is her thing.
So we believe that's her thing, but she also wants to make money,
But she's
right? She
making
wants
money in
somebody
her-
to watch the
And
channel.
no one's
her
watching that
channel's
network.
dying,
So
so-
I think that it's a mix. Well, except for she has a lot of Tyler Perry programming that's doing pretty well.
Do we have a laugh track? Can someone put it? If there's a laugh track that
It
we've ever
is.
put on the show.
You're laughing, but it's doing really well.
Yeah?
People love Tyler
People
Perry.
love Tyler Perry. Lindsay, not so much. But I think that it's a combination of wanting the ratings and also believing that I think she thought she could craft a story where it is this addict who has failed so many times before, but now she suddenly, it's a come to Jesus moment, and Oprah is Jesus. And that's the show, but isn't what happened because Lindsay's not that predictable, and you can't kind of force an addict into that narrative.
Yeah, so that's the part that I think is interesting, because if that's the case, let's give Oprah all the credit in the world. She really did this to
needs
help
it.
Lindsay and all that. Well, then she sort of failed in her mission, right?
Sure. I mean,
Has she ever failed before, Oprah, at anything?
well, she did
besides
once
dieting?
with James.
Sorry.
She did once with James Fry, and she let him know that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think the problem is also Lindsay's. Who knows what her addiction and her real situation is, but there seems to be a component of it where fame is enabling the worst aspects of her addictions. And I watched some of the show, and it seemed to me that this was not that the way, if you really wanted to help Lindsay Lohan, the way to help her was not to put her
Exactly.
on, to take what's been driving her crazy and then just blow it out times a million. It would be to remove her from the spotlight and.
Right, so isn't that something that's sort of perverse? I mean, Oprah must have thought of that. Like, you're going to take like a fame-addicted person.
Right.
And she's probably addicted to some other things too, which she sort of said she was or wasn't. It wasn't really clear
Maybe.
there. And then you're going to give them more of that? Like, isn't that a little...
Just to play devil's advocate, there is an aspect of accountability to it. And I think that I watch Real Housewives too, Beverly Hills.
Yes,
Kim
yes. Boy,
Richards.
that and Medea, you're...
I don't watch the Tyler Perry.
Oh, you
Not
don't
that
watch-
no, I
yeah.
don't. It's just I know that it exists. Kim Richards, recovering alcoholic, said that the show basically saved her life because she was being filmed all the time. She couldn't secretly drink. She couldn't avoid people calling her an alcoholic on camera.
Yeah.
And it made her get treatment. I don't think that's the normal course of action for an addict. I'm just saying, like, there is an aspect of accountability when you're filming someone and you're
Bravo
following them in
Andy
that
is
way.
truly the greatest man alive. He's helping addicts.
Yes.
I call him Bravo Andy because that's what his Twitter used to be. Whatever his
Sure,
name is, Andy
call-
Cohen. What do you guys, how do you personally deal with the train wreck people? Because like Amanda Bynes, when she was going off the rails and Bieber and all that, like I follow them on Twitter just really purely for the jokes. But every now and again, I do start, like when Amanda Bynes was really going down the tubes, I started feeling bad and I was like, I'm not going to joke about her anymore because she literally could just show up in a gutter and then I guess I'll feel bad. But how do you, because you want to be part of the zeitgeist, right? We're all in it. And
I think there's a difference between someone like Justin Bieber, who it doesn't seem like there's an addiction. It doesn't seem like it seems like he's kind of a smart ass kid and he does asshole things
Right,
on a
he's got a
grand
lot of money,
scale.
a lot of toys.
Yeah, I mean, he is basically Dennis the Menace with like a lot of money and no accountability.
Yeah.
Whereas Lindsay Lohan and Amanda Bynes, there seems to be some actual medical, mental, possibly issues at play, and that there's a difference between it feels darker and meaner, and it's the same way when people joke about, you know, like Miley Cyrus was in the hospital recently for like a real, like she had a bad reaction to penicillin or something, but the jokes immediately about, you know, oh, what STDs, or oh, she's pregnant with so-and-sos, and it just becomes, you know, what if something truly terrible happens to this person?
Right. So how do you deal with
there's
that?
a threshold. I mean, you have to kind of factor a lot of things in. You know, it's like how much of a dick is that person? So with Justin Bieber, like he is a dick. Like that, we don't feel guilty for making fun of him.
Right.
With someone who's clearly struggling, I mean, you have to look at it and say, like, can I make a joke and live with myself after doing so? And I think that I hold back for a lot of people because I don't think I could kind of cope with it.
Right.
And then every once in a while, there's someone like Bieber is a great example who just, I mean, there's no sympathy for him. Like, we're not worried about him. If he were clearly struggling, maybe I would step back. But right now, he's just being Justin.
He's just a rich kid.
And spoiled rich kid is a problem, but it's not like something you can treat medically. So
Wouldn't that be great?
yeah, if a pill could fix him, give it to him. But I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah. All right. Well said. Bieber, you're welcome to come on the show anytime and defend yourself. We'd love to have you. Okay. A lot of people think Congress doesn't do much of anything. I am one of those people, but they're working hard for you. You know what they just did? They introduced a bill to cut down on photoshopping of models in magazines. Yeah, this is your government working for you. It is called the Truth in Advertising Act, and let's get an excerpt from the bill. An increasing amount of academic evidence links exposure to such altered images with emotional, mental, and physical health issues, including eating disorders, especially among children and teenagers. There's a particular concern about the marketing of such images to children and teenagers. And of course, you know, we see this all the time on magazines, and lately there's been a trend of celebrities that release the actual pictures of themselves. I think Lena Dunham has sort of started this. We've got some photoshopped images of celebrities in case you're not sure of what's going on these magazines. Let's take a look. So this is Lindsay Lohan. We just talked about Lindsay. That's Lindsay to the left, and that is her airbrushed self to the right. I mean, without being too glib about the segment we just did before this, she doesn't look that human in either one of them, but you can see clearly, like, there's a lot of alienness going on that picture to the right, and it's, you know, clearly photoshopped and cleaned up and all that. Her eyes look alienish. George Clooney, they took some wrinkles out, and his hair has a little more color. Guys, feel free to chime in.
The after is way worse.
I like the before.
The before looks great. The after
funny?
looks awful.
Isn't that funny? They took the salt and pepper out, which everyone
It's
loves.
like, that's the Clooney.
Did they add some shade to his Adam's apple to make him more manly?
Yeah,
I
look
think
at
they
that.
Slightly darker, right?
They darkened his eyebrows too, which is like, what if he was more like Peter Gallagher? Good idea.
But isn't
Let's
this
do
crazy?
that.
There's some artist somewhere going, we better darken his Adam's apple. I mean, they literally said we need more contouring around his Adam's apple. What's his name would not be happy about that? Who got the Adam's apple removed?
Bruce Jenner.
Bruce Jenner would not be happy about that. One more for you. We got the best possible picture we could find of Katy Perry. And yeah, I mean, look at that. To the left, you see a somewhat human face with some pores and that chin. And then what is this obsession with making everyone look like aliens?
It's very porcelain doll.
Yeah.
It's like I want to see someone who looks like they've never actually been in the sun, ever.
Yeah.
And they sleep in moisturizer.
All right, I can't look at that anymore. Let's come back over here. So, yeah.
I think it's a great bill, actually. Like, I think it's a really good. The problem is my distrust of Congress means that, like, if it ever gets passed, it will be toothless and nothing will happen, and, you know. But then again, cigarette companies can't advertise in a whole bunch of places they used to be able to advertise.
Yeah. Although suddenly we have electronic cigarette advertisements all over the place. So.
That's true.
Give it time.
Yeah, they're going to take that away too. You think?
I don't sure.
Yeah.
I think the bill doesn't go far enough.
Really?
I think we should be photoshopping people uglier. I want to see like put more flaws into people.
Yeah.
Make us feel better about ourselves.
That would
George
see.
Clooney
That's
with a
how you.
snaggletooth.
Yeah,
that
like,
would be nice.
Really, just like ruin them.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to be mean. I'm just saying like I want to see Katy Perry with like a big gut and bad skin and like, just having a horrible hair day. I want to see that, and not on like a Stars Without Makeup. I want them to actually create that image.
So what is for the people that read these magazines and look at people that are already more beautiful than them or richer than them and have all the things that they don't have, and then on top of that they make them look even better than they look normally. What is going on? Like psychologically, what do you think is going on?
It's awful. I mean, it's creating something to aspire to that is fictional.
That literally doesn't exist.
Does not exist in the universe.
Yeah.
And so
it might, because they're starting to look like aliens.
True, but
it's
you're
just
starting
not
to create a situation where it's literally unattainable. Like
Yeah.
these goals are unattainable, and that causes perpetual and complete failure. It's always going to be failure. There's no way to reach that zenith, and it causes awful mental health issues and eating disorders and awful things. There's no reason why we need Kate Upton to be. I heard from a friend of a friend who was working on that movie with Kate Upton that they were doing digital effects to make her look like slightly skinnier in the movie. And it's like, Kate Upton's gorgeous. What are you talking about?
Right.
Why do we need skinnier? Like nobody's like, oh, the thing I love about Kate Upton is how tiny she is. Like it's insane.
Well, I think there was a promo shot even of Hot in Cleveland where they even tried to make Betty White look a little slimmer, and it's
But
like
you got to. You gotta really like sex her up because
you really have to sex her
people
up.
are trying to masturbate to Betty White. You don't want to take that away from them.
There is a small group of people
I'm sure.
that do that. But aren't we all doing this in our own life too? Because we all have that Instagram thing, and we can blur things, and we can make ourselves look tanner and all that. So that is that even more perverse that regular people?
I don't think so. I think that's really minor. I think everyone wants to look their best. I don't think that we're actually, unless you're like actually photoshopping your Instagrams, which is a thing people do.
People do that.
I mean,
I had a friend who was doing that secretly, and when I found out, it was one of the reasons I cut him out of my life. I was like, this is such a fraud.
Crazy.
I was like, this person is such a fraud. You're photoshopping your own. I can't.
But since like online dating has existed, we're always like, presenting our best selves in like perhaps an altered way. We're using angles to kind of do what celebrities are doing in magazines.
Yeah, sure.
That seems normal to me. That's kind of just human nature versus like actually distorting someone's form until they look like nothing like themselves and are this like perfect form that doesn't exist in the world.
Yeah. By the way, we have a tremendous amount of Vaseline on the lens here, so
Great.
the three of us look
Good.
pretty
No,
damn
wonderful.
great right now.
Yeah.
But to your point when you started this whole thing about Congress, is there any chance Congress, like, what does Congress have anything to do with this? Like, is this the type of thing? Congress can't do anything. They have like a 6% approval rating. They literally can't pass a law at this point. Nobody likes them, and this is what they're doing. Is that sort of the state of America summed up in a nutshell?
Yes and no. This is one of the times where I'm like, well, somebody's trying to do something that has actual impact. I feel like a law like this actually has much more impact on regular America and could have much more positive impact on regular America than a lot of what Congress does.
A lot of the nonsense that they're...
That said, I have no faith in them to get anything done on this issue.
Yeah.
They're the worst. They're just the worst.
Any final thoughts on Congress?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they have any control over magazines. Do they have? I mean, I don't know how this works. I don't think they can enforce it.
I mean, most likely they're just going to set industry guidelines
Right.
that no one will adhere to.
Great. Nothing's going to change.
Good. So good luck with your industry guidelines, people. We're all rooting for you. Okay. This was fascinating. So according to the LA Times, the number of Californians aged 50 to 64 who live in their parents' homes has surged in recent years. People 50 to 64 moving back in. Everyone thought it was just the millennials moving back in with mom and dad. No, it's people in middle to upper middle age. We've got some more info for you. For 7 years through 2012, the number of Californians aged 50 to 64 who live in their parents' homes swelled to 67% to about 194,000. That seems insane. Among 18 to 24-year-olds, 1.6 million Californians have moved in with their parents. Though that's a 33% jump from 2006, the pace is still half that of the 50 to 64 age group. There's so much here. Now, none of us are in that age group yet.
No, I am. I just look great.
You looking crazy. A lot of
really good.
moisturizer.
Yeah.
And,
Photoshop.
Yeah.
Is this really an economic thing? Do you think that really is what's going on here, that these people just are falling on hard economic times? It seems weird for that age group, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, but I feel like, well, first of all, I hope this means that we can stop reading millennial trend pieces. Because if it's not just the millennials, like, let's read some trend pieces about 50 to 64-year-olds.
That was one of the first things that
freeloading off their parents.
Yeah. Wasn't
Those
that nice?
lazy jerks.
Wasn't it nice when you saw this? Because it was like, oh, they're not just, I don't know, are you a millennial?
Yes.
You're a millennial.
Yeah.
So isn't it refreshing to see some other age group be besmirched?
I mean,
These lazy boomers.
Yeah.
It's sad. It's sad because, like, you know, obviously there are economic issues at play, and it's more stigmatized to move back home when you are 50 than when you are 20. But yeah, it is kind of like one of those things where we look for kind of trends like these lazy millennials, and I feel like these issues kind of are the economy at large, and not just like an age group of people being, you know, lazy and not working.
Right, so we have a bad economy altogether. People just attack the millennials because they're the ones getting in the workance in a bad economy, not the ones
And because we're so obnoxious that it's like we're an easy target.
And the selfies with you people.
Selfies. Oh my goodness.
Should we be judging these? You know, look in Europe. You know, in Europe, look at Italy. Almost everyone lives with their mother in Italy.
Yeah,
should we be more like Italy?
I think we should be more like Italy, at least in food.
Yeah, at least in food. That's right.
No, I think it's sad more than anything, and I think it's a statement on the economy in a huge way, but I think it's also a statement on the type of jobs that are available, and a lot of people in this age group are trained for jobs that no longer exist and aren't properly trained for the jobs that are starting to exist. Mm-hmm. And the 50 is not, you know, that's middle-aged, and there's not a great way to train a ton of middle-aged people to learn you want to do job training, and you want to give people a chance to get educated enough to get back into the workforce, but it moves so quickly that by the time, you know, somebody who's trained in computers in the 90s is already, if they haven't been staying up with that, is already totally behind where we're at now. Yeah.
So it's not just a bad economy, but then they're not trained properly for the jobs that exist right now. Do we put too much of a premium on getting out of the house? Like, even, this reminds me of like every episode of The Cosby Show, right? Cliff was always trying to get those kids get out.
Well, I mean, we do, though, culturally. You know, you're right, though. In Europe, it's not the same. In many other countries, it's not the same. I mean, the U.S. has a weird thing about kids going to college and never coming back, which is not realistic in this economy. So I think that, yeah, it's a weird cultural thing. I don't know if other cultures are so into people who have been out of the house for 30 years, then coming back.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it does seem like a weird thing that we've kind of been conditioned to believe, that you have to kind of get out immediately and never look back.
Yeah.
Well, it also makes sense, though, that what started this terrible economy was, although it's starting to rebound, but what started the economy was the housing crisis. And so a lot of the people in the 50 to 64 age range probably owned houses that were foreclosed upon. And so they were probably former homeowners who are now renters who can't afford their rent anymore. Like, it's the natural conclusion of people who were foreclosed on 8 years ago.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, there's definitely a litany of reasons that it's going to. Isn't there something nice, actually, about people this age moving back in? You know, you have elderly parents that are probably in their 80s or 90s at this point. And, you know, people do, it's usually thought of the other way, that the elderly parent moves in with the child, or they kick them off to Shady Pines. I told you I was going to get one Golden Girls reference in.
I appreciate it.
So, but isn't there something nice about this that we should actually respect more? You know, like in Japan, where they really have a respect for the elderly that we sort of don't have here.
Well, here's what bummed me out about the LA Times piece. The woman in the piece says that it was because of her twins that she moved back in. If they had not been around, she would have lived in her car. So I was like, is her mom reading this? Because if my mom read that I'd rather live in my car than with my mom, I think she'd be a little upset.
Yeah. We'll link to the article in the description, by the way, so you can find out a bit more about her.
Yeah, it's just depressing. It's so sad. And it is nice to be with family and but nobody wants to come back hat in hand. And also, nobody wants to be written up in the LA Times about how they came back hat in hand. Like, it's already embarrassing enough, but to go to be like, yeah, so then my life really fell apart and now I have to live with my parents, my kids, like that sucks.
Yeah.
Like, now everybody read about it.
Yeah, well, from getting older in a bad economy to robots taking your jobs. Yeah, that's right. You know, last week we did the story on this study about how in 2060, basically because of an aging population that's going to stay alive and people having less kids, that our whole economic system is going to be flipped upside down. We're going to have a class war between old people and young people. Read Albert Brooks' 2030 if you haven't. Now futurologists are saying, they're basically making bold predictions about what's going to happen in 2040 to the workforce. This is from expatjobs.com. Let's take a look. So here are some of the things that they predict will be happening. By 2040, this is not that long from now, we may be requesting bionic implants for our hands that will make us able to perform tasks as fast as any machine. Plastic surgeons will be able to offer additional brain processing power. I could use that. The current 37.4-hour work week will increase a third to 50.5 hours, and we will have less sex in a lifetime as a result of reduced human interaction. I think some of these things are already happening, but also let's look at what the worker will look like in 2040. Workers will have red eyes from working all hours, also maybe from being the Terminator. Weaker eyes from close-up wearable devices, much like Google Glass that we've been talking a lot about. A smaller penis as a result of fewer sexual partners over a lifetime as human interaction reduces. I didn't know that your penis grows in relation to how much sex you're having. A bigger brain with software and memory updates. I think we're just going to put a little SIM card in our ear, I guess. Implanted earwear to eliminate cumbersome Bluetooth headsets and smartphones. And smart fingers with chips that aid work. Okay, so I painted the future for you. 2040, you're not buying it.
This is such nonsense. We're going to look back at this segment
Jack, expats.com.
Expatjobs.com. I'm calling shenanigans.
Yeah.
We're going to look back at this segment the same way we look back at popular mechanics issues from the 40s. You know,
Flying car.
cities will fly high above us. Like, no, this won't happen. The idea that technology is going to reduce sexual interaction is crazy. If anything, we've seen the exact opposite to be true.
Right.
Google Glass is not gaining a foothold. If anything, people are rejecting the weirdness of it. I think being conditioned by years and years and years of dystopian future movies and novels has made us very suspicious of the computers.
That's what the commenters tell me every week. I've watched way too many sci-fi movies.
Yeah, we're not going to be like, oh, we can have a droid that can do our jobs?
Yeah.
I'd like to hire that droid.
Are you telling me I shouldn't smoke weed and watch Total Recall every night before I go to bed?
No, that you should do, because that's just a good life choice. But this is just, I mean, it's fun to think about, but it's also crazy nonsense.
Okay, I'm going to fight you back a little bit on that, but I'm going to let you go first.
I agree with Jack, although I do want to be that person who's like, TV's a fad. Like, I want us to look back in the other way and be like, these guys didn't believe us, and we were totally right.
So you want to be that guy?
I want to be the guy who's wrong.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's complete bullshit. But I do think the sex part's actually true. I disagree with Jack on that. I think that we have reduced human interaction, and that the movie Her was like very true to life, or will be.
Right.
And sometime we will be able to kind of find connectivity and sort of a sexual release outside of human partners.
Right. Well, already, I mean, I don't know if you know this, but there's porn on the internet.
I heard about that. Yeah, I haven't seen any, but I've heard that that's a thing.
But I would argue that the last 20 years have led to a much more promiscuous, I feel like society is much more promiscuous now than it was in the 1950s.
Right.
And a big part of that is because we're watching a lot of porn, and people are getting married much later in life. Mm-hmm. You know, it's the number of 20-somethings I know, myself included, who are like, oh, I'm not even going to think about getting married till I'm 30. Like, that would have been crazy talk in 1950. And, you know, the rise of Tinder and Grindr, and these things are made so people can get their rocks off together. Like, nobody,
right.
You know.
Right. There's plenty of room to do it alone, but yes, you can do it with other people.
I don't think anybody's been like, you know, porn's been so great, I'm just done with sex. I think if anything, it has the opposite effect, where, I don't know.
Yeah. But if you could have a sex robot over having to deal with a human being, I feel like you might go for the sex robot.
We've talked a lot about the sex robots. They're coming too. No pun intended. They're coming.
I think
that
sex
should be the commercial. Right?
That's true. I think you nailed it right there.
Sex robot people.
Don Draper is worried about how to pitch the sex robot.
Exactly. So
Sell
okay.
itself.
So to me, it seems like a lot of this stuff is actually possible because it's only 20-something years in the future. And if you think about what we were like 20 years ago, we didn't all have iPhones in our pocket. We weren't connected to the internet all the time. We wouldn't even be able to believe all the stuff we could do now. So that's why I look at this list. And yeah, maybe our eyes won't be turning red, but like the rest of it seems kind of, yeah, like nobody can predict what 20, there's that famous quote from the Microsoft guy in like 1981, and he's like, nowhere in the future will anyone ever need more than 4 megabytes of data, Like, I feel like that's why I kind of buy into this stuff. Am I a crazy futurist?
You're insane. I think that, no, I get that. I think that, but at the same time, like the things that have happened, could we predict them exactly? No, but the things that have happened, I think, are also kind of in line with what we expected to some degree, like video calls. I mean, what is actually happening now that's that outside of what we could have imagined?
Right. Well, we thought the video call was going to be on this big machine, and it ended up in our hands. So
Right.
That's pretty
So
good.
I mean, yeah, these things happen, but I don't think they happen in such extreme ways. I don't think by 2040 we're going to see a drastically different. I mean, there might be a nuclear war that wipes us all out before that, but
Yeah.
if we
dropped
survive,
that story this week. We were going to end on that.
if we survive, I don't think it's going to be that drastically different. And these things happen kind of gradually as they're happening. At least it feels that way. So I don't think it's going to be. We're going to wake up suddenly with robots working all our jobs.
Yeah.
I also think technology has made us more connected than, maybe I'm buying what Mark Zuckerberg is selling, but I do think technology has made us more connected than we've ever been. I met both of you on the internet, through Twitter and through.
It had nothing to do with sex.
Yeah, no, yeah, well, I
was a
mean,
rare-
at first. No. But no, I mean, this is a human interaction that's occurring that wouldn't have occurred. This is being broadcast for the internet. Like, we're becoming more. I don't think human interaction is lessening, and I don't think that anybody is thinking that, oh, if only I could just talk to Smarter Child or one of those other like Clever Bot or one of those instead of being on Twitter, like interacting with actual people. I think we may have less face-to-face contact at some point, but I think there will always be a need for face-to-face contact, and I think even video calls were about face-to-face contact. And even that's not really. I mean, Skype is a big part of meetings but the idea of like talking to your friend in the same city on a video call, I still feel like is like not the most common thing, despite what some TV shows, because it's an easy way to get people in the same room.
Right.
Like I don't think that's like really taken off in a huge way. I think in 2040, things are going to look a lot like they will now, only with maybe like smaller phones and hopefully like electric cars.
Or we'll have like giant retro phones.
We're going to all have the Zach Morris phone.
Yeah,
That's
let's go. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, Jack, you've given us a very pleasant ending here, I think. Jack Moore, Louis Peitzman, their Twitters are right down below. And you guys need to like and share. And what are some other buzzword buttons? Give me something. Comment.
Engage
highly
good.
in what we're doing here, because that's what you can do
Retention
for
rate.
now. And then one day maybe we'll meet in person and this will all be beautiful. All right. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.